Captain's Log, May 11, 2025. Live podcast of KPFK, Pacifica Radio in Los Angeles, kpfk.org at 9 a.m. Think Outside the Cage. Recording is directly from their output, their archives.
As I've said earlier, anything you give is appreciated. When you give, you take ownership in this. We cannot continue to go on without your assistance. We cannot continue to go on without your assistance. So make a donation, make a pledge. Let's keep this radio station rolling. All right, I have a caller from Orange County. I think it's Kareem. You on the line, yes, Kareem? Sir. What's on your mind this morning?
Yes, sir. Am I on air?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you called. I called last week at the end of your show. You told me to call back to finish what I started to say.
Yes.
And then I was explaining that about 5-6 weeks before 9/11, formerly retired General Jack Meyer, deceased about 20 years ago, he told me that they were going to do 9/11 in so many words, and that they were going to invade some country or countries after that where they needed Arab-speaking translators. And then about after 9/11 happened, I called him to ask him if that's the operation that he was talking about. He didn't reply to my phone call either to my recordings or call me back. And then, so this is what happened. And I would give you a few searches, which if you put in quotation marks, you would come up with sites and pages of documents that you won't find anywhere else. First one is in 1979 U.S. Embassy hostages in Iran. Second search is Solving 9/11 Enigma. Third search is Solving Apollo-Enigma. Fourth search is Solving SPACEX-Enigma. The second search, Solving Apollo-Enigma, proves with documentation that the World Trade Center was nuked with multiple nuclear bombs from inside out, with a minimum yield of 40 kilotons in each tower, and then with ample documentation. And then the solving, the first one proves that the hostages in Iran were taken by arrangements between George Bush and insiders of the new Iranian regime, because at that time, USA still had a couple 100,000 SAVAK or CIA, Iranian CIA agents in Iran called SAVAK. And a lot of those are still active, even though they're retired. And then the something that is not in any of those is that, and I tell you also of personal knowledge, is that the so-called operation to rescue the hostages, which ended in the Tabas desert, several hundred miles from Tehran, it was, in fact, to destroy some illegally established nuclear waste processing facilities, which U.S. had built as a big plant over there. And then they did destroy the equipment, And before they took off, Soviet planes hit them with missiles. And this is according to General Nader or Nader Aga Khan, who told me this, and he was the former head of Iranian Secret Service during and after the previous regime. So between in the 90s and in the 80s and in the 90s. And then, although his operation, he told me the Iranian Secret Service was only responsible for protecting foreign diplomats. It's not similar to the U.S. Secret Service. And then the previous thing which I had revealed to you, also of personal knowledge, on the 13th of April, was that Hamas, PLO, PLA, all these groups, they are all wholly owned operations and agents of Tel Aviv. And this is according to former General Ali Rafat of Iranian Air Force, one of Iran's first pilots, who I knew here in Orange County. I met 25 years ago, and he passed away around 20 years ago also. And he told me that he used to fly with cargo plane. I'm talking about 50s and 60s. Once a month, the head of the Savak, or the Iranian CIA, he used to fly him, Timur Bakhtiar was his name. He used to fly him to Tel Aviv once a month for new instructions and training from the Mossad. And then they told him to land in a remote area of the airport in Tel Aviv. And then they covered the camouflages, playing at night and flying at night. The camouflage at night, and over the weekend they filled up with stock weapons, leftover weapons from World War II. And then they had him fly it to Beirut and deliver it to the Christian-Phalangists. The predecessors to
listen, Kareem, I have to. I have other callers on the line, so I have to. Okay. I'm trying to give everybody, some time to speak.
So my last word is that this October 7 was fully operated by Tel Aviv, by Satan-Yahu, with his agents in Hamas. That's why the leaders of Hamas were assassinated, so that they don't reveal this. And so all these operations are fully owned and operated by false flag operations in order to expand their stolen territories. That's the point.
All right. Okay. I appreciate you calling in. Okay. All right. I have Jose on the line. You on the line, Kareem?
Yes, sir. I'm here, but I barely hear you.
Okay. Well, we got to make it work. Okay. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. I'd like to tell you something that has been underlooked and unknown, and it's the fact that Hamas, PLO, and their predecessor, the Christian-Phalangists, have all been wholly owned and controlled oppositions by the invading Zionist terrorists. And I know this firsthand from a Persian Iranian deceased general more than 20 years ago, who told me that he used to deliver planefuls of World War II leftover weapons from Tel Aviv to Christian-Phalangists in the 50s or 60s, before PLO was created by them, by the same Zionists. And then the first time when he asked the Mossad chief why they were sending weapons to their enemies, he laughed and responded that that we own them. We need to have these controlled oppositions in order to create fake wars, false flag wars, and expand our territories, invaded territories. And this is a fact which has also come up over and over. For instance, Netanyahu has said multiple times on video that Hamas is our asset, and also Barak is on video saying that we delivered $1.4 billion of cash in suitcases, Qatari cash, to Hamas since they were created. And then they are landlocked and sea-locked and airlocked. They have no way of receiving weapons from any other sources but from these invading terrorists who call themselves Israelis. This is something that has been overlooked and never mentioned. The PLA now, which is supposed to be the successor of PLO, are similarly controlled and owned by the same people in Tel Aviv and AIPAC and so forth, the extended version of it. That's what I wanted to bring up.
Okay, well, man, I appreciate you calling in. So I don't really have time to take any more callers. So if you didn't get to call in, I thank you for calling in, brother. If you didn't get a chance to call in,